what inspired you for this? Like, any comic stories in particular, any past interpretations of Nightwing? What did you use as your anchor?
That's a great question. I have an image of Nightwing in my phone that I've had for many, many years because it was him hanging upside down shirtless, and I was like, I want that physique. I want to be able to do the abilities that he has. I always thought it was Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond. And then after booking the role, I showed them, I was like, look, I have like a Batman, and they were like, no, that's Nightwing, that's you, bro. And I was like, no, that's Terry. They're like, no, that's Dick Grayson, that's you. So for like 12, 15 years, I've had an image of Nightwing that I've kind of literally tried to embody.
What have you done to prepare for this role? I mean, it's for you, obviously, what you just said, it's much more than just a speaking role.
Yeah, I actually called up a friend of mine, and his name's Big Bang Mike Olaski. I flew him in from Utah, and he trained with Steven Seagal's personal bodyguard and Bruce Lee's goddaughter's husband, Ron Balicki. So I called in Mike, he called in his mentor, his sensei, and Ron Balicki came out, and literally we shot this whole thing, me fighting with the Screamer Sticks, the duelist Screamer Sticks, just like Nightwing, just to be able to see if I can handle it. I was nowhere near the shape I thought I was in, but I learned a lot. I learned how much work and discipline that I had to put in, and then I had proper mentorship. Just like in martial arts, you have to have a sensei. I had these gurus, the entire team, Wilson, Mui, Patrick, and Ann, and the entire team backing me. Every question and insecurity that I had, they were guiding me properly through.
Fantastic, thank you.
So Nightwing's always been kind of a more positive upbeat character, but with the death of Bruce, is that affecting who he becomes?
I think anytime you lose the loved one, it's going to shake your foundation. And in this situation, Bruce is much more than just a loved one. He was a mentor. He was a sensei. He was strict. He was tough love, and he was everything. And how do you fill those shoes? And how do you overcome that? Right, that hole in your heart. Well, I think with Nightwing's case, he just continued to push forward and try to put that smile on. But with the love of others and the team there that supports, he was able to patch that heart, and he'll continue to do so as he tries himself to don the cowl of the Dark Knight.
Hey.
There you go.
He didn't breathe. He just went straight. He didn't breathe. That was great.
I blacked out.
So you've done a lot of action in the past in your work, and there was mention of doing the motion capture stuff. How was that for you?
It was a brand new experience. I got to do performance capture in Montreal, WB Montreal, and again, I really, really looked towards Wilson for guidance. Stephen O. Young, he's a stunt coordinator, actor, phenomenal talent. He's been doing many other projects. He plays Red Hood. And Stephen O. Young, I was like, dude, please help me out. And he was like, no. And I was like, please? And he was like, fine. Very Red Hood, fine, I'll help you. But basically, with the guidance again with Wilson, how does this look? Do you think we should throw punches and kicks here? And Wilson, no matter what we did, he was always finding ways to take our ideas and make them better. And then through that collaboration, we have probably the best game in the world.
I mean, and just to add to what Christopher was saying, like the motion capture, the performance capture, it's a technology, right? What these guys and girls brought to the floor in terms of the character, of how they developed the character, that was a solid base for me, because how we worked is we basically had to make the perfect take. When I have them on set, we're basically refining the take over and over until we get the most purest performance, because I take that to kind of run with the animators, with the artists, with everything else. So when the base is strong, everything else gets better, right? So no pressure. But they brought their A game, man. They break out. I'll admit it here. I cried in a couple of the scenes.
If he wasn't going to say it, I was.
But that's the emotional tone that we want to hit with them dealing with the death of Bruce, and that's a very important thing for us.
And to chime in on that, it does come. It's a completely collaborative thing. I'm just the index or pointer finger on the whole body of work, which is what Wilson and the team have created.
So I'm curious. You have the history of, obviously Dick Grayson is Robin,
right,
grows up, becomes Nightwing. How do you balance advancing the characters but yet keeping kind of what the fans are expecting to see?
So that's actually a very good question. Very, very challenging, actually. I mean, for us, we're creating a game with 4 characters. We've been training ourselves to love each character equally, right? Because of their different history, their different lore, their different relationships with Batman. But from the standpoint of us for the storytelling, what we're trying trying to do is basically tell their version of that story. So we're creating 4 cinematics in one. When you're playing a specific character and you switch, you're going to get that same cinematic, but in the flavor of Red Hood versus Nightwing's version. And there are big differences. We're talking about different dialogue. We're talking about different interactions. We're even talking about custom cinematics that tell that story depending on who you play. And the fact that we're switching it back and forth like that as a player at any point, technically it's quite the challenge. But from a standpoint of the player, and it's going to be something that's going to draw them in when they play that for sure.
What's really funny about that is on set, they were like, "Can we do this, Wilson?" He's like, "That's going to be so expensive. Let's do it."
My producers don't like me that much.